people have argued that thin privilege isn't real because thin people have also experienced body shaming for being too thin
Yep.
and have body image.
Right now, you're shaming people for thin privilege. What are you talking about? Thin people claim they've been You're doing it. You're literally doing it. Because TikTok allows 3-minute videos up to 3 minutes. Now she was able to upload, I guess, the full copy of this tragedy. So here we go.
Let's talk about thin privilege. Thin privilege is defined as the power and advantages systematically accorded to people with thinner and smaller bodies. Some examples of thin privilege include not being denied medical care because of your weight, airlines not charging you more money to fly, and being more likely to get a raise or promotion than your fat counterparts. As well as everyday, seemingly mundane things like being able to comfortably fit into public transit seats and even hospital gowns. A lot of people have argued that thin privilege isn't real because thin people have also experienced body shaming for being too thin and have body image.
Right now, I'm going to pause it right now. You're shaming people for thin privilege. What are you talking about? Thin people claim they've been You're doing it. You're literally doing it. The hypocrisy is unreal. So compassionate, right? So kind. You're literally doing the shaming. I'll rewind it a couple seconds. She's literally doing exactly what she's claiming. Like thin people claim that they've been, you're doing it. You're doing it.
Transit seats and even hospital gowns.
And if you can't fit in a hospital gown, it's pretty much a blanket.
A lot of people have argued that thin privilege isn't real because thin people have also experienced body shaming for being too thin and have body image issues like everybody else. But as Christy Harrison beautifully put, having thin...
Full stop. As Christy Harrison beautifully put. Now that is a repeat offender on our show. So when you have someone that is quoting Christy Harrison, you know the woke train has officially gone all the way off the fucking rails.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Let's continue. Jesus, there's 2 minutes left.
Privilege doesn't mean that you've never had any body image issues or that you've never struggled with disordered eating or that you've never been bullied or shamed by people for your size. Fat phobia goes beyond bullying. It includes being dehumanized and systematically ignored and discriminated against in healthcare, education, employment, you name it. As a small fat who is also white.
As a small fat who's let's bring race into this because that matters. Let's bring as a small fat who's also white and retarded. You forgot that part.
As a small fat who is also white, I experience both thin privilege and white privilege. Therefore, even though I may get some rude messages or comments about my body, I'm still seen as a more acceptable level of fat than someone, for instance, who's a mid-fat or super fat.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
mid-fat, like a mid-size SUV, a mid-fat. Yeah, you're just fat. There's just like, yeah, you're just very fat or really fat. We have words for this already. What's torrid? Is that like a fat brand? Okay, so for example, if you are a super fat, you're a 4 to 6 in torrid, which means holy shit. Trying to make super fat people feel more comfortable wearing it, like because they want to wear a size 4 or 6. So in other words, just change the language, change the numbers, and it makes it all better. So a super fat is a 26 to a 32. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. A super fat. Okay. A 4X to a 5X. It's like a fat girl hot topic, says Jen. Okay, so you have a brand that's calling a super fat a 4 to a 6. Oh, makes you feel better? I'm a size 4. I'm a size 6. No, you're a 4X or a 5X. Just changing the number on the tag doesn't change your diabetes or your heart disease or your insulin resistance. So
I reject your reality and I substitute my own.
Yeah.
Of course, as with everything, intersectionality is super important.
No.
Somebody like me,
who's
a white small fat, will have a vastly different experience than someone who is both black and a super fat.
Oh my God. Intersectionality should make everyone throw the fuck up. Yeah. The more check boxes you can add to your woke infinity stones, right? The more you can add to the list, the more tallies you can add up. In other words, the more of a victim you are. This is a victim hierarchy. So the more things you can add, like race, age, if you're missing a limb, so if you're handicapped, black, trans, and you're a small fat or big, these are, I mean, you're not quite as good as a super fat. So you're not as pathetic, right? You're not as much of a victim. That's it. You're not as a victim. So the more victimized, the more things you can add to your checklist, it's just a power. This is a pathetic power grab. All right. Instead of actually improving yourself and trying to do better and working hard and all the things that human beings have done for millennia, which is why we're here today, by being the most pathetic of a person. And this has nothing to do with race. I'm not saying one race is more pathetic, but in other words, trying to be the most victimized, which is pathetic, that's going to get you more power. This is about power and control. This is authoritarianism. This is what the authoritarian left is doing. The more victimized and oppressed you are, the more power you should have, which is exactly how civilizations crumble to the fucking ground. That's why it's anti-capitalist, anti-quote white. And you don't even have to be white to have white privilege, right? You could be a Hispanic cop and then you'll see people in videos like, oh, you're white privilege. You just want to be white. You just want to be white. Want to be white? Want to be taller? Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't change the facts. All right. Just because you are a self-loathing piece of shit doesn't change reality.
And vice versa. The experiences we have are completely different, as well as the way we are perceived and treated in the world. And I absolutely benefit from thin privilege. I know.
Which is ironic because from my angle, you don't look thin at all.
As a size 16, I can go to the doctor and...
All right, you're a size 16. You ain't thin, sweetheart. By my standards, by like, I don't know, logic.
And I absolutely benefit from thin privilege. I know that as a size 16, I can go to the doctor and I'm more likely to have my symptoms taken seriously. Because
you're morbidly obese doesn't mean your symptoms aren't taken seriously. It's just the cause, the lifestyle habits, the insulin resistance. That doesn't mean it's not being taken seriously. You are drastically uneducated and ignorant to the damage that your insulin resistance does to the human body. It's not just obesity. It's all of these diseases. It's heart disease. It's brain malfunction like yours. It's depression. It's Alzheimer's. It's cancer. It's all of these fucking problems. All of it. Most of it is from insulin resistance and poor sleep and stress and no exercise, terrible food. Everything we talk about every day.
Comfortably fit in an airplane seat, and I know that I have the benefit of living in a white society where...
A white society? Where? A white society? What do you consider white? Like European? Like Eastern European? Like, there are people of all different skin colors. I don't think you understand who came to this country. You do realize people came to this country because they were being persecuted, right? From like religion, right? You get it, right? You get it, right?
I have never experienced racism. The treatment of fat people.
You haven't experienced racism. Well, then you haven't really been out there in the world. There's plenty of racism against white people, against black people, against Hispanic people. And if you've ever been in any of the communities, right, there's, I guess, racism again amongst white, like redneck and white. And of course, you have the religious and political. Black people are racist against their own, right? You have like different shades, light skin black. Like you have all this like intra-racialism. Yeah, she is a racist. She is being racist. This is judging people based on race, because by calling herself a small, fat, and white, and someone else has black privilege, that's being a racist. And people think racist is like hate and anger, like I hate that race. No, it's judging people's character and quality based on the color of their skin. She is being racist. This is a fact. She is a racist. Why? Because she said so.
It's worse once you consider things like size, race, gender, and income. And privilege highlights the systemic disparity in the treatment between fat people and non-fat people.
Fat people die younger. Fat people have higher rates of all-cause mortality.
And And because people usually get really angry whenever thin privilege or privilege in general is mentioned.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
This is not an attack on thin people. This is a...
It's literally 2 minutes of attacking thin people. Yeah. This is not an attack on thin people. Oh, are we at war with Eurasia now, or is it East Asia? I forgot. You want to change your mind again? Quickly before people notice.
This is not an attack on thin people. This is a critique of the fat phobia that's embedded within society and how fat phobia pervades life in seemingly trivial, mundane ways.
Oh, that's systemic fat phobia. It's deep in there. It's just in society. I have no proposal to actually fix it. It's just there. We can't change it. The boogeyman is always there under your bed. You should be afraid and always aware. And do as I say, because I know what I'm talking about.
Take some time to think about how you might benefit from or be harmed by thin privilege, and how you might perpetuate fat phobia in your daily life.
No, I'm not going to think about fat phobia at all because you're making it up. I will tell you what, if fat phobia means I never, ever, 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 ever want to look or think like you, then man, call me fat phobic as I'm fat phobic as fuck then.
Consider me Miles Davis.
I never want to be like you. I never want to be like you. Please fucking God, let me never be like you in any sense of the word. Please, fucking Christ, please. Oh my God, what a disgusting human being. Oh, well, there you go, fam. We have a blatant racist that just literally talked about being a racist for 3 minutes. And that is what's happening in your schools. That's what's happening in public schools. That's what's happening from the mainstream. That's what's happening in all your institutions. That is what's pervading in our society. That's what it is. That's what it sounds like. And do you know why it's so pervasive? Do you know why this kind of lunacy is spreading? It's because it's very hard to argue without sounding like an asshole. I am just totally fine with it. I'm totally fine. I'll take the title. Fine. Call me an asshole. Call me whatever. I'm fine with it. Most people, if you argue this at all, you're a bad person and you're going to get fired or you're going to get blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's because most people aren't in the position to actually say what I'm saying.
We stay woke, but y'all sleep. Real mo, but y'all sheep. Out in public, she a good girl, but at the crib, she a real freak. New throne for the new king. Same kid, now my streets go. Same gang, got the cheat code. I said stay woke, we in real mode. I said stay woke, real mode. Stay woke, real mode. I said stay woke, real mode. Stay woke, real mode. I said stay woke, real mode. Stay woke, real mode. I said stay woke, real mode. Stay woke, real mode. Hey, y'all some jokers, y'all a bunch of clowns. You will not get a laugh out of me. You can talk, but you can't denounce. I live a different theology. Why I transferred to a new account? You just fucked over a prodigy. Posted up with a rented crown. You are the king in the apology. You about to see a new side of me. I hope you know. We